I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Friday, July the 28th. Good morning. Take It to the Limit, of course, by the Eagles. Sung and mostly written, of course, by Randy Meisner, who passed away at the age of 77 yesterday. Randy Meisner, founding member of the band, the original bassist, and as you just heard, the original guy that could sing the living daylights out of a song. Passed away after a lot of health issues, complications from chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. The Eagles announced that on their website yesterday. Randy Meisner, one of several members of the Eagles who left the band in the 70s. I think he was the most famous departure at the time because it was during the Hotel California tour, as the Eagles were clearly the biggest band on planet Earth at that particular moment. But by all accounts, just an absolutely wonderful guy, a lovely man, not looking for the spotlight, certainly not looking to bump heads with Glenn Frey and Don Henley. Randy Meisner gone at 77, and golly, how many times have you heard Take It to the Limit, but just listening to it, kind of mind-blowingly great.
Yeah, right. And you're right. And Randy Meisner's part in that those high notes. In fact, this piece of audio really, before we get into a little bit more about, joining the Eagles and his songwriting and his career, that was more than the Eagles. I think this little montage that was put together really kind of describes that experience of him in the Beatles, that hierarchy that you just talked about, and why maybe Randy Meisner just didn't fit with some of the guys. And I remember when the Hell Freezes Over tour, I was working here, came about, and it was really the Beatles, listen to me, the Eagles' first big get-together in a very, very long time. So it was a huge worldwide event, and Randy Meisner wanted to be a part of that. That was the story that was going around that we reported. Mm-hmm. And the Eagles, Glenn and Don didn't want to have anything to do with that, and they said no to him, and they said no to Don Felder. And, we don't know the inside story. We're fans on the outside, and we get, little tidbits and snippets, especially back then without the internet. And I remember a lot of us thinking, oh, come on, guys. How much time has to pass? Get Meisner back up there singing Take It to the Limit. But, when Glenn and Don made up their mind, they made up their mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's a common thing when you've got personalities. As much as Randy Meisner was a chill dude, not confrontational, he still took up a lot of space in the room. I mean, just the guy that sings like that, the guy that brings songs like that to the band. And every band in rock history, as original members depart, nature abhors a vacuum. They don't replace all the space gone with the new guy. They take it up themselves. If you have a band of 5 guys and 1 guy leaves, 4 people fill that space. And the guy they bring in, almost always, it's like, hey, dude, you got a little bit of space here to play with. It's up to you to figure out how, where to be at all times, both literally and figuratively, musically and otherwise. And by the time the Eagles got back together in the mid-'90s, I can't imagine they were like, let's open this back up to input from people who have a real claim or a stake. It's like you're just looking for drama. I mean, it's a funny thing. Having been in a band that replaced members, you find yourself, you don't even realize you're thinking this way, but it's like more than anything, you're like, well, who do I want to hang out with? And you know who bands want to hang out with? People that don't raise their voice, people that don't have a problem, people that do what they're told when the other original founding member says, when Glenn Frey says, hey, go sing that song. Trust me, Timothy B. Schmidt, who replaced Randy Meisner, you know what he did every time? Sure, man.
Yep.
With a smile on his face. Thrilled at the opportunity. Yeah. There's just a thing. Chemistry is an amazing thing in bands. And you can replace original members and still be a really, really good band, but you're never quite the same, because, again, it's a chemical reaction that those original Eagles had that Randy Meisner was a huge part of. And Randy Meisner, to his eternal credit, was originally in Poco, which is another tremendous band, country rock pioneers. And then, of course, he left Poco to join the Eagles. Timothy B. Schmidt became the new bassist in Poco. And then when he left the Eagles, Timothy B. Schmidt replaced him in the Eagles. So if nothing else, Timothy B. Schmidt, wherever he is today, is thinking, man, appreciate that, bro. 2 for 2.
Yeah, right.
Thanks for letting me get in that wake.
A nice handoff. Well, here's Randy Meisner talking about how Take It to the Limit came together.
I started the original idea. I just came home from the Troubadour one night, that's just all alone at the end of the evening when the bright lights faded to blue. And then it came time to get the album done. I didn't have a chorus yet, and so Glenn Frey started working with me one night up at Henley's house, and we got a couple of choruses. And then Henley started working on it too to get it finished, so they helped me get it finished, took it from there.
Yeah, it's Henley and Fry are legendarily, what's the word? Prickly. In your face. They are alphas, 100%. And Joe Walsh is a complete wild card, X Factor, doesn't care, he's above and to the side of everything anyone else is dealing with. It all made sense while it did make sense. Randy had a rough life. I mean, he definitely, his post-Eagles life was certainly not easy. But, it's something, when I saw the news yesterday, I was struck. I've never seen the Eagles live, but then again, I never felt like I never felt like I had to. The music's just everywhere. Growing up at my age, I don't remember the Eagles not being around, and for all of us, the last decade, as our original classic rock guys are all hitting their 70s and 80s. Of course, we're losing a lot of them, and it's the same feeling every single time. My reaction to that news. I've never been a card-carrying Eagles guy, but I saw the tweet, and I just stared at it, and I thought, oh, man, because it's like, okay, that song, Take It to the Limit. How many times have we all heard that song? I mean, like, Tony, if you go back in your mind, 136,000 times in the 70s, that song was playing at a party when you were trying to get up the nerve to talk to a girl. I mean, those songs are just such a part of all those times in our lives.
Right. I just think of summertime, too, hearing that song.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really something. And so Randy Meisner gone at 77. Godspeed and thank you, I think, is really the first thing that we always think when we lose one of these guys. Well, the first thing we feel is sadness, and then we find ourselves contextualizing the person's life and their career and the impact in our lives. And then after that, just gratitude that they were there to begin with. From Poco into the Eagles, man, well done. Randy Meisner certainly earned his keep on stations like KQRS for all these years.
Yeah, no doubt. He certainly inserted a lot of into the soundtrack of our lives. So much of his influence is in there. And he played with Ricky Nelson. I didn't even know that until this. You start reading about his life and getting started playing with Ricky Nelson, Poco, the Eagles. That's not a bad contribution to the arts.
No, not at all. An astonishing vocal range. And one last thing really quick I'll say is that I love the clip when Henley and Fry are like, he'd been up partying, he couldn't sing, and of course Meisner's version was, I had the flu. And it's like the flu in 1977 ain't like the flu now. I'll just put it that way. There's a lot of things that gave you the flu back then, and most of them weren't the flu.
All right. Well, we talked to Mike Evans yesterday. He's sounding better. Speaking of the flu, a little under the weather himself, but he's live. He's with us. Might have some Randy Meisner memories. This guy, he goes back. Mike Evans, Hollywood Report at 6:30. Hang tight.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Friday, July the 28th. It is time to go west, young man. Mike Evans is with us for today's Hollywood Report. Good morning, Michael.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. We start off Kevin Spacey follow-up. Although Kevin Spacey was acquitted of all the sexual assault charges this week in England, an impeccable source says you can stick a fork in Kevin's career, that it's done. Hollywood producers and studios believe that Spacey is box office poison.
Yeah.
They believe the public will not pay to see his movies. Of course, you got to remember Spacey has been bombarded for decades of alleged sexual misbehavior. This might have been the final nail on his professional coffin. What do you think?
I would never say never in terms of someone famous suddenly, giving the world a case of amnesia. I'll say this. I have a very close source. I know someone whose brother is a well-known actor who has worked with Spacey and corroborated everything you've ever heard and then some.
There you go.
And this was years before it was out. I was hearing things a long time ago. So, but again, someone's gonna hire him. Someone's gonna give some redemptive arc nonsense interview, and people forget. And at the end of the day, the guy's an amazing actor, and wouldn't be surprised to see him with his career continuing down the road somewhere.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Did you know Randy Meisner?
I did not.
No, I never met him, but boy, he took it to the limit. That was sad to hear about his passing yesterday.
Yeah, that's an all-time great rock vocal track. It's a signature. If you're going to get one, hit the ball real far, and that's exactly what he did.
Absolutely. It is Movie Review Friday, and we start off with Haunted Mansion. Boy, I really love Disneyland's Haunted Mansion attraction. I mean, it was really scary. But the acting of Tiffany Haddish and Owen Wilson and Danny DeVito and a host of others makes this movie version not as scary. Kind of goofy plots. It's not horrible, but it's a little bit of a Disney disappointment. Rated PG-13, 2 hours long. We're going to give it 2.5 stars.
Okay.
But there is a really good movie opening today. It's called Talk to Me. I'm not a big horror movie enthusiast, but this thing's scary as hell. This film freaks you out, makes you scream. You won't be able to turn away. You'll be grossed out but emotionally invested after just 10 minutes. And, Steve, really good acting for a horror film. Great writing. Rated R, 90 minutes, 3.5 stars for Talk to Me.
Talk to me. Now, who's doing the talking here? Are we talking, is this spiritual, ghosts, poltergeist? What's happening? If you don't want to spoil it, don't spoil it. You're telling me I should go see it? That's enough.
Let me say, just when you think you know what's going on, there's other spiritual and other people talking to you that you may not want talking to you at the time. We'll leave it at that.
All right.
And Oppenheimer and Barbie and Sound of Freedom are all still playing. I recommend all of them. Oh, got a funny nugget for you, Steve. A theater in India showed Oppenheimer, but accidentally ran Barbie subtitles.
Sure.
Can you imagine what the audience thought of that?
Yeah, we've all done hallucinogens. That'd be a great few hours in the theater.
Can you imagine? Mattel Toys is so thrilled with the success of Barbie. They're planning 10 feature films featuring more of their toys and games, including Barney and Polly Pocket and Uno.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, Polly Pocket, come on.
No,
Yeah.
don't.
I love Polly.
Okay, listen. There's not that many Greta Gerwigs running around, okay?
Well, that's true, too.
New Marvel.
A lot of people could have made Barbie, could have driven Barbie right into the ditch. I don't know, man. I really hope if they're going to start shoving those movies, running them up the flagpole and shoving them down our throats, they got some smart people behind them.
They're not going to be they're not going to be Barbies. I'll say that.
No.
Basically a done deal. Tina Fey going to replace Lorne Michaels, who's 78 years old. Made no secret he'd like to retire to Hawaii. As Lorne Michaels has been a great. He started Saturday Night Live, but he wants to retire. I think Tina Fey's a perfect replacement.
She's taking over SNL? That's incredible.
Yeah, it might get good again.
Wow.
Talk about very odd. Ben Affleck friends say that he seems depressed, appears glum, no joy, mood swings, showing some temper. What the hell? He's worth $150 million. He's married to J-Lo, a brilliant career. My worry, has Ben's drinking problem returned? I hope he is still sober.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the problem.
I doubt it.
Yeah. I get so many emails from our listeners today. I wanted to just single one out. I'm going to do it on Fridays. Michael Gergen listens every morning. He's one of the many listeners that sent me some great email, and I just wanted to pass that along. Absolutely. And a reminder, you might want to go to the movies this weekend because this report has been brought to you by our good friends over at Marcus Theaters. Don't forget, there's great food, great dining options at the Take 5 Lounge at all the Marcus Theaters, and Tuesday is Value Tuesday. What do you think of that there, homie? What are you doing this weekend?
This weekend, I've got no plans, which is exactly how I like it.
Well, I'm going to finish up with a song because it's Aloha Friday, nowhere till Monday. We're going to play today Aloha Friday. Mili, Kalikamaka, Holy Maka, Hiki Holili, Yokalani, Kalani, Ani, Yodi, Ke, Lakaku, and a Kaka, Aka, Hui, Hui, Ho. Aloha.
Bam! There
Sound
it
like
is, the Mike Evans Hollywood Report.
Did he add a couple verses?
He wanders, and there's no rehearsal involved.
No. He's like Lightfoot, you know. He'll add a verse about the Edmund Fitzgerald, and what are you going to do about it? I mean,
No.
you're stuck. You're captivated. You're focused in. You're in a trance when that song starts every Friday.
We should check the translation sometime. He might be chanting something really obscene. We have no idea.
That's very true. That's a great point. We should double check that. We get the recordings. We'll come back on Monday with a full report. Hey, we were talking about the legalization of marijuana a couple days ago on the show. One thing I don't think we got into. There is one clear downside. the canine dogs are out of work.
Oh, no. Maybe
All
they can
the
actually be
drug-sniffing
dogs.
Listen, they are trained to detect cannabis, but those same dogs are trained to detect all kinds of other things. And you can't say, okay, stop sniffing for weed. Just do the cocaine and the meth and the explosives. No, that's not how it works. So all the dogs that for years have been trained to sniff out all these things, if they've got marijuana in their profile, and they all do, they're kind of useless because there's no reason to sniff for it anymore.
Yeah, they'll be euthanized.
No.
I didn't read that anywhere. Well, why can't you just let them find the pot and go, okay, it's pot. You know, go on your way, I guess. And then, the dog's going to smell it, but that doesn't mean you have to bust someone.
Well, that's true. But it could be embarrassing. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
It just seems to me like, along the way, if you're getting... I guess you just want to have a dog that can smell everything, but I was surprised to hear that. I didn't realize, of course, I'd never put one moment's thought into this, that all the dogs sniffed for all the stuff. I literally would have just thought, oh, you got a pot dog, you got a bomb dog, you got a meth dog. I really didn't know how much weight these dogs were carrying. It's pretty impressive.
The avalanche dogs are trained to smell out humans, but I guess, they could also, what if there was a human down there with meth on them? Would they, they would dig you out and then arrest you? That would suck.
Well, they would dig you. They would grab you. The dog would clamp on your ankle, the one part they can see, drag you through the rubble, and then drag you into your arrest. That's a good combination of skill sets right there. Yeah. There was a time, many times I should say, in the 90s. Flying into Atlanta, Georgia, which was my former band's hometown, and we would arrive international flights, and we would get to customs and get to baggage claim, and on more than one, on literally half a dozen occasions, our luggage would have already been removed from the belt before we got there, and dogs were circling all of our suitcases. Just like, are you serious, guys? You think we're dumb enough to bring our own stuff home with us?
Well, all right. You learned from McCartney. Didn't he get busted going into Japan with like a pound of weed on him?
It was a lot, and it was in the hood of his kid's winter coat. Oops.
That blows my mind. In 79, you're Paul McCartney. Don't you have... That's what roadies are for, You're smuggling in your own grass. Come on.
No, he figured, traveling with my family, who's going to look? That's just in the kid's hood. I didn't know. That's what it was.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Friday, July 28th. I'm always happy when it's Friday. Mm-hmm. Sue me, Candace. Sue me. Okay?
I hate Fridays.
Tell me why.
I like Mondays.
I think the lawsuits come in the second year of the show, don't they? Typically.
I full on, listen, a handshake is as good as a contract, and I told you when we met and we shook hands, 24 is when we litigate.
Okay, dang it. Lawyer up.
You got the rest of this year, dude, and then we're going at it. We're tearing each other apart with steak knives next year, baby.
Wait.
What's going on today? Randy Meisner died yesterday at the age of 77, founding member, original bassist, and phenomenal vocalist of the Eagles. The man who wrote and sang Take It to the Limit. Gone at the age of 77. He was also a founding member of POCO. So Randy Meisner more than earned his keep around these parts. Sad to see that he's no longer with us. In the meantime, okay, Zep, you mentioned something about a scam before we went to the commercial break. I'm a fan of the scam of the scam era is what I'm calling it. I mean, I don't want these things to happen to me. I feel bad for the people who get scammed, but I'm endlessly fascinated because what you said earlier is true. Every day there's another story of somebody coming up with a way. I just thought, like, by the mid-'90s with telemarketing, I thought we had peaked as a society of scammers, and we were just getting started.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the sky's the limit. It's the imagination of human beings that, want to take advantage of human beings. It's
kind of like, every cop show from the 90s, there'd always be those they'd all have the same tropes. And at some point, some cop would go, if that guy had taken all that the smarts it takes
Right.
to run a drug cartel, if he'd applied it to a legal degree or a medical degree, they would have that begrudging respect for the criminal mind. If they'd only focused it in the right direction, he could have been a governor, but instead he's in prison for life. It's that same. It's always that thing. And I look at the guys, the people who are scamming folks. I'm like, you could apply all that energy and all that insight into something where you're not ruining someone else's life. I don't know. Just a thought.
Yeah.
Just call me crazy.
Yeah, when people talk about it as a crime of opportunity, I'm like, I know. We've all had opportunities to commit crimes, but we decided not to. It takes another ingredient, It takes the deviance, the want to commit a crime and take advantage of someone.
Where isn't there opportunity? I could steal your wallet during the next commercial break. You wouldn't know.
You wouldn't
There's
get any money out of it.
But the point is, look around. Life is nothing but crime opportunities.
Right.
Most of us just decide not to go that way. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Well, what's different about this scam involving Amazon, but it's not an Amazon scam per se, is that it's not really, you're not victimized so much in that you're inconvenienced. And what's happening is these companies from overseas are filling up our Amazon warehouses. That's what they do, right? What's a warehouse? So there's a finite amount of space there.
Right.
At some point, you've got to get your stuff out of there. That's the rules. And if you haven't sold it and moved your product along, you still have to get it out of there. And to have it shipped back and redistributed, sometimes it's easier for these companies. You talk about a planet that's overproducing crap. Sometimes it's just easier for them to send it to random addresses. They'll just pick a random address. Could be your address, Steve, or you, Tony, or you, Candace, anyone's address, and they'll just dump all this product on their doorstep. And then within the scam, somehow they say that they've gotten rid of it. They're able to write it off. Some of these companies are even writing it off as a profit and monkeying with the books. But in the meantime, people are left with all this stuff. We've done 3 or 4 stories in the last couple of years where somebody gets, 500 pairs of kids' bed sheets just delivered to their front door, 50 boxes. Yeah.
So you have a company, Tony Lee's Widget Wiener. So the
old Widget Wiener.
The Widget Wieners, he's producing them.
Yeah.
He sends 1,000 of them to Amazon ahead of time.
Right.
So when Amazon fills the orders, they just go grab them from the warehouse.
That's right.
And then if the Widget Wiener, if Tony Lee's Widget Wiener, I got to remember, I'm sorry, Tony Lee's Widget Wiener.
Which
I
would
always
be a
forget
huge
to say the name.
seller.
Copyright that, Tony.
If those aren't selling, then Amazon eventually goes, hey, we need space in the warehouse. I get
Right.
it now. So it's not Amazon doing this, but then Tony Lee of the Tony Lee Widget Wiener Company,
Right.
then he will just pick an address where maybe a place they've already sent one thing or just a random address and just send them all of the stock just to clear the decks.
Right, because this company has already has a contract with Amazon. If Amazon delivers it, they don't have to pay for that. It's already there. They have a contract with Amazon.
God, that's awesome.
Couldn't you take all that stuff and sell it yourself?
Well,
Yeah,
that's not
you mean if you're the
Yeah.
recipient?
Yeah.
Sure you could.
Yeah,
Who's going to stop you?
That's not what Cindy Smith did. She's not as greedy as Tony's Widget Wieners. A woman in Virginia named Cindy Smith recently received more than 100 packages just dumped at her front door. You come home, and there's Amazon boxes everywhere from one end of the yard to the other. She says she received 1,000 headlamps and 800 glue guns and dozens of pairs of children's binoculars, which I guess would be children's binoculars.
How many headlamps?
Yeah,
1,000 headlamps.
1,000 headlamps.
800 glue guns. That's incredible.
Boxes of little children's binoculars.
Yeah, right.
She reported this, of course, to Amazon. They didn't think it's brushing. Brushing is another scam where foreign vendors send overstock and return merchandise to her because they had to remove it from the Amazon warehouses. But they basically dumped the items on her randomly because it was cheaper than, like I said, having it sent back overseas or disposed of in another way. And Cindy's just been running around her local town there in Virginia giving it away.
It's a lot of packages. I didn't order them. A lot of people told me I was weird. I would drive around with headlamps and glue guns in the car. I gave them to everybody I met. All my neighbors got glue guns or headlamps. I gave them to dog shelters, to veterinary clinics. I went to Burger King one day. I'm like, I have a gift for you.
There you go. She's just being charitable with it. You get some kitty, a glue gun for you, a kitty, pair of binoculars for you, and Yeah, and it turns out she's an environmentalist too. So she sees all this plastic packaging. I'm watching the news report, and she's just like, "Oh my, all this garbage, all this. Where's it gonna go?"
If I were at a red light and a woman in the car next to me was like, "Put your window down," and I put my window down, she goes, "Can I offer you a headlamp?" Honestly, I'd say, "Yeah, thanks."
Why not?
A glue gun, I'd probably pass, but a headlamp, I'd be like, "Sure, you can. I may well need that one of these days." I'd love to see Johnny Apple headlamp walking around just passing those things out. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, so as far as scams go, I mean, you're inconvenienced because all this crap shows up at your door, but, you're not out any dough. And Amazon said they will pick it up and bring it back, but this lady said, "Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna."
We should start doing on our game shows every day, instead of giving away tickets to concerts and stuff. We should say like a lifetime supply of glue guns. It'd be great.
Right, exactly. Set up a glue gun stand right outside the main gate of the state fair. They'll be gone like that.
That's a good. They would be. I saw a thing the other day about people online all talking about various ways they'd won a lifetime supply of something. And one of the comments was, as a consolation prize for losing on a TV game show, I got a popcorn popper, a little girl's bicycle, and a lifetime supply of Dinty Moore beef stew.
Wow.
I don't know. So he goes, I gave the popcorn popper away as a Christmas present. I sold the bike. When the beef stew arrived, it was one case of 12 cans. After I tried the first can, I realized the other 11 would indeed last me a lifetime. That's great.
Yeah.
A lifetime supply of Dinty Moore beef stew.
Although that was a batch. You got your ramen noodles. I forget what those 99-cent pizzas were, and then Dinty Moore beef stew. And you'd open it up, and the top third of the can, I'm going to hear from the Dinty Moore. I'd love to hear from the Dinty Moore Company. Top 1/3 of the can was just that disc of grease.
Yeah, the word congeal comes to mind.
Congealed grease.
Yeah,
but
a word that's only applicable when discussing Dinty Moore beef stew cans.
I'd give a little to the dog, a little for me.
Yeah.
Got us through some long winters.
Oh yeah, sure it did. There was another one I gotta find. It's pretty good. A guy said, my stepdad won a lifetime supply of WD-40 in the 90s. They sent him 4 16-ounce cans. He died in 2019. We still have 2 of those cans. Sure. It's like, yeah, WD-40. Those cans will last you a while if you know what you're doing. And not because you don't. I mean, you can use that every day if you're smart about it. They will last you a long time. My dad, we had a lifetime supply of Miller High Life delivered to the Gorman house once.
Oh, the champagne and beer.
That's exactly right. It was 1,000. Check this out. It was. It was 100 cases of High Life were delivered to the Gorman house because my dad worked at Ebonite Bowling Balls. He ran Ebonite, and Earl Anthony was their biggest bowler, and Earl won the Miller Open. And he didn't drink, and part of his prize was 100 cases of beer, so he had it sent to my house.
Wow.
Well, to my house, to my dad's house. I happened to live there, too. But yeah, I was in like 9th grade, and I'm cutting the grass. I'm on the little ride lawnmower in our front yard, and a Miller beer truck comes backing up the driveway. I was like, what the hell is happening? And this guy offloaded 2,400 bottles of beer into the carport. And I was like, man alive.
How long did it last?
Not very long. I had one brother who was a freshman in college, and his best friend had a giant station wagon. And my dad called him and said, "There's 100 cases of beer here. Come get what you want." And it was a 60-mile drive, and they were at my house in 70 minutes.
Yeah.
I kid you not. They were there. He hung the phone up. I watched 2 Brady bunches, and they were there.
Yeah.
Boom.
Oh my God. The greatest thing ever.
They stuffed every square inch of like an old Vista Cruiser station wagon with beer, and then there was still a ton. There was still a ton of it in there. And then my other brother and I, the 2 youngest boys, one day we were like, let's get a 6-pack, and we knew my dad would know somehow, so we pulled apart. It was like a pyramid of beer, and we took a 6-pack out of the middle, like. Oh. He'll never notice it. But then eventually, as people are coming by from the neighborhood, it's like you see those videos after a neighborhood's been flooded and someone's handing out overalls or paper towels or something.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that. It was just come get beer from the Gormans. and people are lining up to get their heard you got a 6-pack of beer, Mr. Gorman. I appreciate that. Because my dad didn't drink, so he didn't want it.
Oh, man.
And at some point, I just know, and we got busted, but it wasn't bad. Like, my dad actually kind of respected the grift, I guess, because as we're pulling beers apart, suddenly there's just a place where there obviously is from one case of the beer, 6 are missing. And he looked over at Doug, and we're just like, Don't react. Don't respond. Just hand someone else more beer and pretend this isn't happening.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It reminds me of trying to sneak ciggies out because Mom and Dad would put the cartons in the freezer. And if you took out all the cigarette packages and then took the last one out of the carton and put them all back in but didn't shove them all the way down, you'd think, well, by the time they got to the end, they will have settled and they won't know that they're missing a pack of cigarettes in there somewhere. But it turns out we were poor farmers, and cigarettes back then even, that was a luxury. That was a sin item. So, yeah, Mom and Dad knew exactly how many packs of... A smoker knows how many packs of cigarettes they've smoked and how many are in the car. So we got busted in short order on that one. But for a while, I was the kid not showing up with cigarette butts or a loose cigarette to the school playground out there in the tree strip. I was the kid showing up with a pack of cigarettes. I was the big man on campus.
Yes, you were.
Day, no doubt. All right.
Hell yeah.
Right now on the Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talk and Text line, we'll take 2 callers, 9
A
and 2.
lifetime supply of Dinty Moore beef stew.
Oh, my God. I'd be running down the hall and calling in on my cell phone. 651-989-ROCK. Alexa Theater today for a chance to win tickets to Grand Funk Railroad. You got to love a band that will come to your town and help you party down. They're playing Saturday, August 12th at the Ledge Amphitheater. Prize provided by Mammoth Live. 651-989-ROCK. Dial up. Good luck.
The KQ Morning Show is back, and we always want to hear from you. Call or text 651-989-ROCK. 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Friday, July the 28th. And on Saturday, August the 12th, at the Ledge Amphitheater, Grand Funk Railroad will be rocking the people. They are, last I checked, a band from America. And they wrote a song about it. And they're going to come to town, and they're going to party down. And they're probably going to play Locomotion and all the rest of it. So Grand Funk Railroad, August 12th. And you know what we thought we'd do? We thought we'd give away some tickets, for crying out loud, because it's Friday and we like to rock and we like to give things away.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, Tony Lee, what do you think we should do? What sort of context? What's the framework for this giveaway?
I have an idea. Well, but first, just because I have the mic and you can't stop me, I want to wish Rachel, my beautiful love, a very happy birthday today.
Aww.
So
Rachel Lee, she's got the cutest little Rachel Lee. Happy birthday, Rachel. That's fantastic.
Very
hooray,
kind.
hooray, hooray.
Yep. So, but in the news right in front of us, unidentified flying objects, unidentified aerial phenomenon, congressional hearings are finally bringing the truth to the light, are they not? So we present this.
You know, it may be crazy, but we're gonna do it. Hey, I think it'll work.
The KQ Morning Show presents
Alexa
Theater. It's time for me.
Yes, today our focus is on movies about our alien friends. We're going to choose from E.T., Aliens, or Independence Day. What happens is Alexa reads lines from the movies. You tell us from which one.
Wow.
Yep.
The holy triumvirate of alien-infested films right here on the KQ Morning Show. All right, let's do it. Alexa Theater. Candace, who is caller / contestant number 1?
Mike from Apple Valley.
Mike, good morning.
Good morning.
How's your Friday so far, brother?
So far, so good.
Are you ready to play a little Alexa Theater?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Have you seen all 3 movies that we're referencing today?
I have, but I barely remember any of them.
Attaboy. Yeah, well, you know, it's just that's life as the stoner, I guess, huh?
You got it.
Yeah, well, I can smell it through the phone line, brother. All right, Tony's gonna run us down the gilded path. Good luck to you, sir. Tony, take it away.
All right, Mikey, we got 6 sound clips. I'm going to play it, and you tell me, is it from E.T., Aliens, or Independence Day? So here's the first.
Phone home, phone home. Phone home, phone home.
Okay, that would be E.T.
Yes, indeedy. Boy, there's nothing takes away the magic quicker than Alexa. If you played the actual drop from the movie, people would literally tear up. And then you hear Alexa say it, and you're like, oh, my God, I want to jump off a bridge. Found him.
Here's your second one, mister.
Yo, stop your grinning and drop your linen. Yo, stop your grinning and drop your linen.
I'm going to go Independence Day.
Sorry, that is from Aliens.
Oh, I thought that was basic training.
Mm-hmm. Well, it kind of was.
Yeah,
our Marines in space.
That's right.
Fair enough. 1 for 2, Mike. We're still very much in the thick of this. Let's go. Tony?
We'd better get back, 'cause it will be dark soon, and they mostly come out at night. Mostly. We'd better get back, 'cause it will be dark soon, and they mostly come out at night.
Oh.
Nope.
Again.
No, sir.
That is Little Newt from Aliens.
Again.
Yeah. Here's your next one, mister.
He's not a goblin. He's a spaceman. He's not a goblin.
E.T.
He's a spaceman.
What did you say, sir?
E.T.
Very good.
Bang.
Right.
Back on track, 2 for 4.
All right, 2 more for you.
They're like locusts. They're moving from planet to planet. After they've consumed every natural resource, they move on. And we're next.
That would be Independence Day.
Or South Dakotans moving to Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. Either one.
Yeah. I didn't want to say it.
I see it in your eyes.
Here's
All
your
right, Mike, you're rolling, brother. Last one.
last one, Mikey.
It was nothing like that. Penis breath. It was nothing like that. Penis breath.
Tina's?
No.
No, I'm kidding. Sorry, I should shut
It was nothing like that. Penis breath.
What'd you go?
Yeah, let's just go Independence Day.
Oh, sorry, that is from E.T.
Man, 3 for 6, but a few laughs along the way.
Yeah.
We're all having fun, aren't we?
I forgot
Aren't we, Mike?
I forgot Spielberg worked blue occasionally.
Every now and again, only when he's got a 6-year-old Nepo baby in the cast.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, 3 for 6. We've had plenty worse, man. You are far from out of this. We're going to see who contestant number 2 is. Candace, who is caller/contestant number 2?
Kevin from Richfield.
Kevin, good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Steve.
How you feeling, bro?
Really, really good. I just want to wish you guys had a great day and good morning to the KQ Morning Show crew.
Oh, that's nice.
Hell, just give him the tickets.
Yeah,
Thanks,
no,
man.
that doesn't
Man,
work.
if only sucking up work like that, but it doesn't here.
Exactly. We see
Thank
you
you.
working, Kev.
Yeah.
All right.
And good morning to you.
Have you seen all 3 of these movies, Kevin?
I have.
All right. Well then
wonder he's in
you
a
got to
good
be
mood.
feeling pretty good about your chances here. Tony, take it away.
All right, Spartan, once again, E.T., Aliens, or Independence Day. Here's your first one.
Be good. I'll be right here. Be good. I'll be right here.
E.T.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was reaching for a Kleenex. It's
Nice.
that's the big
moving.
waterworks there. Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
Spoiler.
It's from 1982. All right, here's your next one.
Get away from her, you bitch. Get away from her, you bitch.
Aliens.
Damn straight.
Was there anything sexier than Sigourney Weaver and a big mechanized robot, sweaty and using the word bitch?
Honestly, no.
No.
No, it says a lot about my life at that time, but no, not at all.
Next up, Richfield.
Game over, man. Game over. Game over, man. Game over.
Independence Day.
Oh, no, that's Aliens. Game over, man. Game over.
man. We're toast, man.
Although you talk about Jack Nicholson can deliver the line. He's the Hollywood guy known to deliver
Sure.
the line. But Bill Paxton.
Oh, Paxton.
You know,
yes.
in those roles, you know.
Paxton was untouchable, man. Great.
From the other day, I used one of his lines from Weird Science. Get stewed, buttwad. Remember that one?
Yeah,
Sorry.
of course.
All right.
All right, 2 for 3, Kevin. Let's get back on track.
Here we go.
2 words, Mr. President. Plausible deniability. 2 words, Mr. President. Plausible deniability.
Independence Day.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
All right, 2 more, mister.
All right.
I say we take off. Nuke the site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure. I say we
Aliens.
take off. Nuke the site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Yes, I heard aliens.
Yes.
I thought you were going to say that was the edited scene from E.T. where he decides to destroy planet Earth.
Right, that was cut out.
Yeah,
Elliot must die.
Oh, that ending just didn't test with audiences.
Exactly.
Ha! Here's your last one.
All right, you alien assholes. In the words of my generation, up yours. Hello, boys. I'm back. All right, you alien assholes. In the words of my generation, up yours. Hello, boys. I'm back.
Independence Day.
Nice job.
Kevin,
Very
well
nice.
done, sir. 5 for 6. Leaving little doubt. Kevin, you have won tickets to see Grand Funk Railroad.
All right.
August the 12th. All right, indeed, at the Ledge Amphitheater. Prize provided by Mammoth Live. Mike, thank you for the call, brother. We enjoyed it, but you just didn't have quite up. You didn't have the same amount of gumption as Kevin. But man, we appreciate the efforts from both of you, gentlemen. Thank you. That was a good one.
Yeah, that was fun.
That's fun fact. Okay, now that we're done, I don't think I ever saw Independence Day.
Oh, well, you know, it came out at the same time as Armageddon, all those space movies, end of the world stuff. This was the alien scenario. I remember it was a big 4th of July movie.
Will
Obviously,
Smith.
Independence Day. And yeah, Will Smith.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah. You haven't seen
What a hero.
And so it was, Armageddon was the meteor, right? They have to, Bruce Willis has to go up and destroy a meteor or something.
With Ben Affleck. And,
With a
And Liv
ragtag
Tyler.
bunch.
Yeah. And then Independence Day is aliens coming. That's the one where they blow up the White House.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen that clip.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So, yeah, they
fair
both
enough.
came out that summer with the big blockbusters, but Will
it
Smith
was
went up
pretty-
and just slapped the hell out of that alien. Remember that?
Yeah.
It was pretty dopey, and they defeated the alien fleet by in putting in a computer virus
Oh,
on the
naturally.
laptop.
Yeah, I
Very
think-
believable.
Yeah, I think I was drunk that summer. I think that must explain it. Yeah. Hey, speaking of drunk, the KQ Morning Show's hitting the road for a long weekend. KQ up north with BigDeck.com, ladies and gentlemen. You can join us October 5th through the 8th at Cragen's Resort on Gull Lake. If you have your own cabin or a place to stay nearby, you can join us for a live broadcast of the KQ Morning Show. Still get some drinks on the boat cruise, dinner, and more. You can book a day pass at 92kqrs.com. Sponsored by BigDeck.com and Cragen's Resort on Gull Lake. I will be bringing the golf clubs. I know, Zepp, you'll be bringing some golf clubs.
Yes, and one golf ball.
Attaboy.
That wouldn't get me to the
I was going
first
to
green.
say, he has every intention of playing 1.5 holes of golf.
Oh, if I could only keep it for one. But, yeah, in fact, my last round I went out, I'm the guy that just dumps the balls in the bag. I take, like, one sleeve of good solid balls, right? The Titleist or those Strixons, just some new ones. And then the rest are just junk balls that I find on the course. And I had, like, 17 balls in there. I ran out of balls. I couldn't play the last hole. I was walking around in weeds looking just to find one more ball to play the 18th.
Hey, man, I played on my high school golf team. Now, before you think, ooh, trust me, all I had to do was show up. I'd never played golf, and we didn't have a coach. So start there.
Did you letter for it?
And what's that?
Did you get a letter?
That we didn't even do that stuff. It was a tiny school.
Yeah.
So I'm in, I guess, I'm in 8th grade. And it's a really small school, and they're like, we're having a golf team. And so a couple of my friends played, and I had a little set. I had a 3, 5, 7, 9 driver putter set, like a half set. And I'm like, I can use these. Hey, I'm an athlete. I can figure it out. And we literally went out, played 9 holes of golf as a practice round with other guys my age giving me lessons. And then we played a tournament against another school. That's how I had no idea what I was doing. And we go play 9 holes against Fort Campbell High School, Screaming Eagles, 101st Airborne, baby. We go to Fort Campbell. I play 9 holes on this course against like a real golfer, a kid that can play. And he's looking at me on the first hole. I have like a little... My golf bag is a cloth bag.
Yes.
It's like the cheapest thing you've ever seen. And we play 9 holes, and on like number 7, I look at a guy from another school and go, Hey, man, you got any balls? I ran out of balls, and he had range balls.
Yes.
And I finished the round with balls with a giant red stripe through them. And I shot a 72 for 9 holes.
Yeah.
And this is like an executive course. I mean, the longest hole was 300 yards.
Right.
I shot a 72, and it was in the newspaper. They printed the results. Fort Campbell beats University Heights. And the kid, I'll never forget the guy's name. Charlie Burrell shot like a 37. And this is what it said. Charlie Burrell blasted Steve Gorman 37 to 72. And my brother Dave is reading the newspaper, and he looks at me and goes, "Hey, man, Gormans don't get blasted."
Well.
And I looked at him. I go, "Well, this one does."
I'm guessing you didn't clip that one out of the paper?
Not so much. I was like, come on, it's bad enough that my dad, what are you, junior dad over there? Give me a break, man.
We don't get
We're
blasted.
supposed to be teammates here.
All right. Hey, at 8 o'clock, we're going to tell you about maybe a Father of the Year candidate so dedicated to helping out his daughter it got him arrested. And who better to help out with this story than the latest edition of the morning show? Stevie Outback may make an appearance. I don't want to get your hopes up. Hang tight.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Friday, July 28th. Whew. Whew.
Yeah.
I'm just reminding myself it's Friday, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a little bit sleepy. I'm not going to lie to you. Every now and again, a song's playing, and I think this song's probably got 3 minutes, and then it ends. I'm like, whoa, that song's over.
Yeah,
that's right. I dozed off during the second chorus and guitar solo.
Well, it is a little sleepy, that Poison tune, but it's a great sing-along.
Yeah, I mean, they can't just play Nothing But a Good Time and Unskinny Bop all day. They got to bring it down. They got to let's change the mood a little bit in the room.
If the
it's
80s,
a song I wrote on the road when I had my heart broken by my little lady friend.
If the 80s gave us anything from the hair bands, it was the power ballad.
Yeah, there were no shortage of power ballads, and it was always like the band would have their first album would be the rock record, and then the second record would be more of the same. But that third album, you could just hear the record company guy going, "All right, this is your third record, guys. We're gonna need you to bring one down for the ladies." Just the first single from every rock band's third record in the 80s was always that one. We've got to get. I need you to combine the vulnerability of Every Rose Has Its Thorn with a little bit of the rapscallion nature of Warrant's. I don't know a Warrant song other than Cherry Pie. Sorry, I couldn't complete the joke.
Yeah.
They have a tender side.
What's the tender Warrant song?
Heaven.
Heaven?
Oh, is that it? Yeah. I mean,
how's that go, Candace?
Heaven isn't too far away.
Oh, that's Warrant?
Where's my lighter?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I had a really interesting Warrant phase.
Did you really?
What happened?
Tell us, Cherry Pie.
Yeah, wait,
They have
Warrant
a
phase.
lot of songs.
Where's
Bed
the
of
have a lot of
Roses.
songs.
Yeah.
They have a lot of good songs.
Uncle Tom's Cabin?
When I See Red.
When I
guys
See
are-
Red?
Yeah, you guys need to
What?
educate yourself.
Oh, do we on Warrant? Yeah. Now I know what
Yeah, I very much enjoy Warrant.
I'm busy Googling rapscallion.
I very much enjoy Warrant.
Very much.
Joy that they bring.
I had a Warrant phase for 2 days. Can I tell you about it?
Yeah, please do.
It was great. In the summer of 1990, on tour with Aerosmith, and then there was 2 shows, Toronto and then Rochester, New York, of all places, where it was us with Aerosmith, but there was also Metallica on the bill and also Warrant. So a big, out of the blue. So basically what you had was the Black Crowes, brand new band nobody had heard of, and then Warrant, and then Metallica.
Wow.
Guess who didn't like Warrant? Metallica fans.
Poor Warrant.
And both Toronto and Rochester, the band Warrant came out on stage. They got about 4 songs in and just had to pull up and leave both times. The Metallica fans were like, "You are absolutely not going to subject us to any more of this." And it was brutal. It was funny, but it was brutal. We were like, oh my God, they're booing them so bad. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And I just thought, man, I can't imagine what that must feel like.
It's to me, listening to that, it sounds a little bit like Carmen. I don't like to speak ill of the dead. My mom was big on that one, and I don't think I am. But Jane Laney, the lead singer of Warrant in '88, I'm working at a hit radio station, and we had some listeners that were supposed to go back and meet him after the show and get some posters signed. Pretty standard stuff. And we went back, and he wouldn't. He didn't want to see him. He didn't want to be a part of it. And I yelled, "Enjoy your 15 minutes." Seeing them as the hair band of the flavor of the month. And that's it. You're out of here. Get them out of here. I don't want the radio station. And I had to stand tall before the man, my program director. What are you doing yelling at artists like that? Don't you know what we're trying to do here for a living? And then 2 years later, Metallica fans are booing him off the stage. 15 minutes. Yeah, but you're right. I mean, they played their part in that genre.
And let's not forget. I mean, they had a whole album and video and single about cherry pie, which is not easy to do.
No.
Let's talk about chicks, man.
Yeah.
Did no intention whatsoever did we have about going into a 5-minute warrant jag, but it was Candace's enthusiasm that really swung the move over to warrant.
Yeah, we had to put our boot on that.
Yeah, you guys keep hating.
Hang on, Candace, real quick, and then we'll move on. How old were you when you discovered the magic of Warrant?
I was probably in high school. It was literally that song, Heaven. It's a beautiful song. It's a beautiful song. And then I got into the other ones, like Sometimes She Cries, Where the Down Boys Go. There's a ton.
Oh, my God. Where the
Down Boys
That's right. They did have a lot of songs.
Thank you.
You're right, Candace.
Thank you.
Howard Johnson is right. Okay, wow.
Howard Johnson.
What is that? Oh, that's Blazing Saddles. I was like, what? Candace is right.
What?
Exactly. All right, let's move on, shall we? Let's go to Australia.
I love it. The Outback.
The Outback. How about this? Okay, people in Australia, we discussed this the other day. Just a bunch of rednecks having fun doing what they do. Just pounding beer like there's no tomorrow. Because when you live in Australia, that's how you got to live. Everything can kill you.
Yeah, by the way, I didn't know in Australia the drinking limit there is 0.05.
Oh.
Yeah, I just assume most of them are always at 0.05.
They had to bring it down, man. I'm telling you. Have you ever done any lawn work drunk? Anybody?
Oh, I'm sure I probably have at some point. I mean, nothing immediate's coming to mind, but I feel like I've done it all drunk, you know.
I cut the grass one time. It was just with a push mower, small yard. This is 25 years ago. Just on a Saturday afternoon, I'd been out at a bar in the in the park, outside patio deck, gorgeous day drinking with some friends, as they say. Got back, and it's like 6:30 p.m. and the TV's on, and they're like, "Big storm's rolling in tonight," and I'm like, I gotta cut the grass before the rain comes, and it just made perfect sense. And I go out there, and by the way, why? Who cares about my grass? I'm just living in a house in a neighborhood, like 2 doors down. It's like a vacant, abandoned home. Like no one cares about my grass being a little longer than code or whatever.
Yeah, right.
I'm just in Midtown Atlanta in this old decrepit bungalow house, and I get out and I just crank it up, and I'm going back and forth, and I look up, and my next door neighbor, really funny guy named Craig, he's just looking at me, and I kind of give him the nod, and he waves, and he's got this grin. And I come, next time I'm walking towards in his direction again, he's still looking at me, and I just let go of the handle. The lawnmower turns off. I go, "What's up, man?" And he just goes, "You're just drunk, aren't you?" And I go, "What?" He goes, "You're drunk. You're cutting your grass drunk." I go, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Look at your lines." And I look down, and I'm just going all over the damn place. And I was like, I was thinking about other stuff. He's like, "You're slurring." He goes, "You're going to run over your own foot. What's wrong with you?"
Like a spirograph.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. This made a lot of sense. I really think it was important. And so then not only did I start the job drunk and then make a mockery of my straight line grass. I didn't finish it because I was like, yeah, you're right. I should just stop. And I just pushed the lawnmower back in the shed, went back inside, and a couple days later, had to do some cleanup work.
Start all over again, straighten those lines out, bring it all down to code. Yeah.
What are you going to do? Hey, by the way, also, speaking of bizarre Australian stories, researchers at the University of Sydney have found less than 5 minutes of sweaty household chores a day can help to cut your risk of developing cancer by a third.
Oh,
this is crazy.
What?
Yeah, it says you really need to, for 5 minutes a day, do some more intense housework. Picking up heavy shopping bags, bursts of power walking, play high-energy games with the kids. It's like lifestyle activities or, put things up, put all the groceries away, but do it quickly. Vigorous, intermittent lifestyle physical activity is what they call it, has a connection that is substantially lower cancer risk compared to people who don't do that. This is just ridiculous. This is what look. If you do household chores for 6 hard minutes a day, I have no idea if there's a link to cancer. But in my household, it's a safety check for me because then my wife's not going to yell at me.
Yeah, you're not going to.
And my stress isn't going to skyrocket. That's not going to lead me down the wrong path.
I suppose this makes sense. We started the show a couple of days ago or a few days ago this week sometime. You'll add 25 years to your life if you just follow some basic health rules by the time you're age 40. And I think I got a little prickly about it because I think they're just trying to trick us. And you just got to keep upping the ante. 10, 15 years ago, it was like, hey, you know what? If you have the right diet, you'll add a year to your life, or you'll cut this by 3%. Now they're coming at us with crazy things. If you just help out with the chores, you lazy loser, you'll cut your risk of cancer by 33%. Really? Okay.
I don't know. I believe this. I went over to my friend Shelby's house this week and went swimming with her kids. And it was a lot. I was exhausted just playing Marco Polo. So, it is just like a workout, and you have to put a lot of energy into playing with your children.
I know. Well, this is just going to come off super insensitive. Actually, I'm not going to say it.
Just
go
say
ahead.
it.
Bring it.
I was just going to say, what? The other side of this is that, now when someone gets cancer, we're going to think they're lazy. Well, maybe if you would have helped out with the chores a little bit, if you would have helped out around the house.
There's always blowback.
That's insensitive. I don't want to be. I don't even want to be glib about that thing. That's a serious thing.
This is attributed. This study's attributed to quote researchers at University of Sydney, and I like the fact that they're sitting around drunk like lawnmower guy, going, "What sort of nonsense can we spin out of science today, mate?" And it's like, I don't know. Maybe if we cleaned up the kitchen here, maybe it'd save our lives a bit. There's no link to what was that pickle study we did? Oh yeah, they said guys who wear orange socks don't like pickles. They believe that, didn't they? And they just turned this thing around, and now here we are in Minnesota talking about it. It's amazing how this works.
It is amazing. Well, have you ever been so drunk, Steve, that you've seen a raccoon running through the airport? That drunk?
I got to think about that. I've seen a lot of weird things running through airports. Can't say I've seen a raccoon.
Some people just did, and we even have some audio reaction to it. We'll tell you where that happened right here in the States at 8:30. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. The KQ Morning Show is back. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Friday, July the 28th. Good morning. So far, so good. Because it's Friday, and honestly, I'm just going to be in a good mood regardless of what happens around here.
Yeah, it's all good. Everything good happening around here, I think.
Yeah. Weekend plans. Candace, what do you got? What's the big thing?
Oh, going to be kind of a chill weekend for me. I might go play with some goats.
Oh.
That's about it. It's going to be, like you said, it's going to be nice not to do a bunch of stuff.
Is there, okay, let's talk about goat play for Candace for the weekend. Is there a standard protocol, or do you just get there and wing it? Like when the goats see you, do they have an expectation of, we're going to do the thing where we run through her legs, and then she's going to put us on the back of the ATV, and then we're going to get treats. She'll get those biscuits and feed them from her little Crocs shoes. I mean, what happens?
Yeah, so we fire up the wheeler, and then we just, they follow the four-wheeler around.
I thought you were the wheeler. Yeah.
And we get fired up. Yeah, they just chase me around the four-wheeler, and then sometimes I'll chase them around and just try to catch them so I can give them rubbins. They're not really easily, sometimes they just like to do their own thing.
I'm sorry. So did I just hear the word rubbins?
I'm kind of looking for the same thing this weekend.
Like belly rubs.
Sure. Lovin', yeah.
Chin scratches. Snoopy really likes it behind the ear.
Any of them fainting goats?
No. These are pygmy goats. They're small.
I like the terms rubbins and fire up the wheeler coming out at the same time. Now, do the goats ever give you rubbins?
No. When Lucy was a baby, she would sleep in my lap all the time, and she'd snuggle up in my arm. But no, they're old and they don't care about me anymore.
All the rubbings consensual?
Rubbins. Yeah, I think they like it.
Going into announcer mode. Now, are these rubbings of a consensual legal night?
I'm talking about belly rubs, you freaks.
I know what you're talking about. Freaks. It does sound good.
Is there any chance that one of these goats would ever make it into the studio for the morning show?
Oh, my God.
Cool.
I don't know.
You guys spend much time around goats? The goat lady is saying, I don't know.
Yeah, no. Well, the answer is no, I haven't. And, I guess they would just eat everything. They'd eat the chairs and stuff.
Yeah, and don't you eat the chocolate-covered raisins that you find on the floor.
Is that what they look like?
Yeah. They
really?
do.
Is that what they taste like?
Candace?
Yeah.
That's the Stones have a. Isn't there a Stones album called Goat Scat Soup?
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're find yourself for any reason at all with a plan to travel to Philadelphia, well, first things first, change that plan. But if you can't change it and you have to go to Philadelphia, you may find yourself at the baggage claim B area and seeing an extra little traveler, because I guess apparently the word on the street is there's raccoons at the Philadelphia airport baggage claim.
These things are everywhere now. Do you guys not run into them when you leave the house at like 4 o'clock in the morning and it's still dark outside? Candace, you do in your neighborhood.
Yeah, they visit at night.
Yeah, I see those critters all over the place. It's just along with the rats and everything else, they're just a part of the city wildlife, I guess now.
Yeah, they pretty much hang out wherever. But the Philadelphia airport, there is a video online. There was a family, oddly enough, from down under, some Australians who are used to wildlife showing up wherever they damn well please. They're waiting for their bag, and sure enough, where the suitcases come out, you're watching them come up and fall down. Here comes the damn raccoon.
That's funny.
And I don't mean a raccoon in a cage, like in a carrying bag. I mean, he's just loose. He's just chilling. And clearly confused as to what the hell's going on.
We've never seen anything like that traveling, have we, girls?
And tried to jump out at me. And I squealed.
We could just see his little tail, and we were like, that is a live animal. What is it?
This one, it looks like he was just trying to get back outside and, made a wrong turn.
You don't think someone was trying to smuggle in a coon, do you? A raccoon, and then they just got out of the, because they've got those little fingers. They have 5 fingers.
No, I don't think anyone was trying to smuggle that raccoon. I think the raccoon's just, doing what they do, which is just making themselves at home. But I will say there are no shortage of people who live in Philadelphia who, if they had been at that baggage claim, they would have put that raccoon right down.
Oh,
I mean,
my God.
The fact that this animal ran around the airport and was not killed on site is nothing short of a miracle.
Yeah, right. I mean, Philadelphia has that reputation. Look what they did to Santa, back in the 70s
that's
during
what
a football
I'm saying.
game.
The city of brotherly love is an easy place to get your ass handed to you.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm looking at the picture, the photo here that they have posted with the story, and he is in full sprint mode. He knows he's in a bad place. He's got to get out of there. Rabies.
If that raccoon, or if any raccoon busted out a baggage claim at the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport, be much, much easier greeting. People go, oh, look at the raccoon. Yeah. Okay, watch out, make sure he's not rabid. But people, no one's freaking out. I guarantee if this guy tries it again in Philly, someone's going to throw a gumball machine at him.
Here you'd hear, oh, for cute.
Yeah.
For cute.
Yeah, they'd be feeding him. Run over and get him some snacks. And I'm sure he's just terrified they'd be putting a bowl of water out. Hell, he'd be a mascot. He'd get named and the whole thing. But in Philly, that's just something that needs to be killed.
And speaking of travel stories, here's something good. And this is actually a nice tie-in to the aforementioned rubbins concept. A new rule will require that airlines will make at least one restroom on every plane big enough for 2 people.
What?
Not just in first class. The lavatories in I can't say American Airlines because that's an actual brand. United States, our airlines, all of them. A new announcement from the Department of Transportation says a new rule will require all airlines to make restrooms large enough for 2 people. And the thinking here, it's not for Goat Rubbins. It's not for Candace Rubbins or Tony Rubbins. It's not for any. Hey, Tony Rubbins, that should be your motivational speaker character,
Absolutely.
Tony. Okay, sorry. Time out. Quick diversion. Tony, we need to create this character, Tony Rubbins, and Tony Lee just gives you tummy scratches and tells you you're going to be a success.
It'll be an event.
That's a pay-per-view. That's a YouTube video. That's going to go viral. Okay. Side note, we got that. We're going to write those scripts and shoot that next week. I'm Tony Rubbins.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Yeah, and then you can give out your Tony Wiener widgets.
That's right.
Those won't be free.
It's going to be fantastic. But for other types of rubbins, this is not the point. The Department of Transportation is not trying to get us all to join the Mile High Club. What they're simply saying is a lot of passengers do have disabilities. A lot of passengers have people who help them. Wheelchair accessible restrooms, not something you see on planes. They say the larger aircraft, like wide bodies, do have a wheelchair accessible bathroom on each plane already. But this is talking about smaller planes, like single aisle, just a regular Southwest 737, for example, is going to have a big ass bathroom. But they do have 10 years to comply. So it's not till 2033. Did you like that? See where I went with that? But that's fascinating to me because, of course, it's good to know that anybody that needs that extra space is going to have at least one option. But it's also good to know that, again, the aforementioned rubbins, you start to get into the mood on one of those flights and you're sitting there with someone and you're like, I'm feeling like I need to go to the lavatory. And then you're like, suddenly you're making plans. I'll knock 3 times and you open the door and we'll slide in.
If you could do it before with the regular size bathrooms, and we can assume a lot of people have, then imagine what you can get done in this. You could invite the entire row, take your section in there, and and make some money. Maybe shoot a Mile High porn in there. Also, right? Fewer seats. They got to make the bathroom bigger. They're not going to make the plane bigger. They're going to use the planes they have. They're going to make the bathroom bigger. Fewer seats. Cost goes up. Thanks for that regulation.
Oh, we're just trying to help out, man.
I'm just jaded. I'm sorry. You guys are we're going to have fun. We're going to, just be going to Rubbins on every flight, and here I am thinking about the tickets are going to cost $26 more.
You just go to you just set your knocking protocol, and you're going to see people going up to the bathroom, and it'll be locked, and then they'll see it unlocked, but the door won't open. That's this code, and then the person's going to knock 3 times. Knock 3 times on the door if you want me, and then, of course, well, actually, let's complete the thought. Twice on the pipe. That's exactly what's going to happen when you're in the bathroom.
Twice on the pipe.
If you're doing this right, anyway.
And then hit the road. Maybe just hang a little pink flamingo on could you do that? Hang that on the door. You guys know about the pink flamingos, right? On the RV parks?
Please. I mean, don't make me connect these dots. Fill in the blanks.
No, we lived in an RV for a couple of years, and then we would just take it out on the road when we wanted to go on vacation. We hook up the house, and away we'd go. And we learned when you go out to these places that people, oh, look at that. Isn't that nice? They're just making themselves at home. They're putting pink flamingos out there with their lawn chairs. And then we found out that means you swing. If you put the pink flamingos out at the RV park, if you see that RV is open for some rubbins.
Wow.
What if you don't know that and you just thought it was cute to put a pink flamingo out?
Well, I'm sure that's happened.
Yeah, I'm sure it has. You're going to make some new friends.
Right.
Yeah, that's not something you're going to be in the dark about for very long.
Have you guys ever cut the belly open of a flamingo and then turned it into a flabango?
Further explanation.
Well, I was thinking about those RV parks and all those crazy wild times I had there. You cut the belly out of the flamingo and you fill them up with beer. Then you cut the beak off and you suck it down.
Not like a beer bong.
Yes, flabango.
I'm so confused. I kid you not.
Flabango.
This is me on sleep deprivation. I literally was picturing an actual flamingo.
I was too.
I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I dissected a frog in 9th grade. We didn't have flamingos. What are you? What do you mean if I ever cut
Flamingo.
open a flamingo's stomach?
I did too. I thought, boy, you took it to a dark place. I'm a hunter. Right away, I'm thinking she's pulling the guts out.
Are they edible?
I don't want to swing with you at all.
We cut open a flamingo. We removed its innards, and then I put my goat inside for the internal rubbins.
Right.
Like a turducken.
A fleur goat. I don't know. Fleur goat. I don't know.
Flabango.
Flamingo. We're getting into a weird area here.
Yeah, we are.
All right,
that's great.
Up north, I think that's going to happen.
If I walked into a trailer park and saw a bunch of pink flamingos, I would assume there's like a John Waters film festival about to break out. You know,
and
I would be like, oh, this is awesome. This will be kind of weird.
You might be right. All right, hey, we are going to get a little more serious here at 9:00. Randy Meisner, the Eagles. We started the show talking about him a lot. We have quite a bit of audio and just talking about the passing of Randy Meisner at age 77 here at 9:00 with the KQ Morning Show. Hang tight.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Friday, July the 28th. That was Steelers Wheel, stuck in the middle with you. Familiar voice, you may be thinking, in case you hadn't connected the dots. Of course, that's Jerry Rafferty. Before he was a solo sensation, he and another buddy from the town of Paisley, Scotland, put that band together. Jerry Rafferty, Baker Street, right on down the line. And the guy had a minute there where he was just delivering the goods to AM radio in the 70s.
Yeah, I mean, he really did. I mean, he brought it, whatever. I mean, he never really, what did he do in the 80s? What happened to him? I don't know.
I think MTV happened. Everyone got to look at him and went,
yeah.
Kind of how that goes sometimes for a lot of those guys. He and Christopher Cross, they made a bunch of records together no one ever wanted to see.
No.
If you see what I'm saying there. I remember a few years ago, the song Baker Street, the saxophone player. There was a story about the saxophonist on that track who was just a session musician, paid for the session at the time, something like £7, like English, 7 quid. 27 quid. That's what it was. He was paid £27 for the track. And then, years later, sued Jerry Rafferty like, hey, man, that saxophone, that's me. I never got anything for it. And it went all the way to court. And if memory serves, the judge looked at the guy and said, so where's the contract that you signed? He goes, well, I didn't sign a contract. And the judge went, get out of my courtroom. Just get out of here. Well, how did this even get this far?
Yeah.
It's one of those. Yeah. Oh, get it on paper, man. If you're a side man, I've played on people's sessions before, and, thankfully I could tell while we were recording, this ain't going nowhere. I don't have to worry about it.
No. Well, you'd think by that point in the music industry, you'd have to have that figured out, right, as a side musician? It's not like it was the 1950s.
No, I think it wasn't the 50s, but the drugs were much easier to come by, and people still weren't thinking clearly in the 70s.
Right.
That's just how that went. Speaking of the 70s, the Eagles, the biggest selling band of the 1970s, founded by a bunch of guys, only a few of whom remained for the return in the 90s. One of the original founding members, bassist Randy Meisner. Randy Meisner was with the Eagles from day one, and then in the middle of the Hotel California tour, at their absolute apex, he quit the band and said, I have had enough. Randy Meisner died Wednesday night late at the age of 77. He'd been battling a lot of health issues for the last 20 years or so, suffering from COPD. And then, after 2004, he'd had a couple of heart attacks. Didn't see much of him. But Randy Meisner, most famously, the writer and singer of Take It to the Limit, which is when you have a band and your third option can sing like that.
Yeah.
You're gonna do okay out there. Randy Meisner, originally a founding member of the band Poco, who Poco's was also a /country rock. They were a hybrid band. L.A. guys taking country music, trying to make it a little more rock and roll. The Byrds with Graham Parsons, Poco, those are the bands people were looking at and giving credit to building this new sort of genre. The Eagles, when they put that band together, they obviously took over the world with it. They were the Eagles were so successful that, of course, everyone took shots at them for years. We're like, well, the Burrito Brothers and Poco did it better. And at the end of the day, it's like, no, they didn't really. they just weren't as popular. The Eagles were the biggest band, as I said, of the 70s. Meisner was there for the glory days. He was not there for the long run album. And then, of course, after they reunited in 94, never again. Right. But Randy Meisner, while he was in the Eagles, certainly earned his keep And as I said, you listen to Take It to the Limit. We played it earlier on the show. We've heard that song our whole lives. I get goosebumps. You just put it on, sitting here with headphones, and it's absolutely gorgeous. The man could sing like I mean, as good a singer in rock music as you can have.
Yeah. Well, here he is, Randy Meisner, just talking about how Take It to the Limit came together, and then we'll play just a real short clip from a live performance.
I started the original idea. I just came home from the Troubadour one night, that's just all alone at the end of the evening when the bright lights faded to blue. And then it came time to get the album done. I didn't have a chorus yet, and so Glenn Frey started working with me one night up at Henley's house, and we got a couple of choruses, and then Henley started working on it too to get it finished, so they helped me get it finished, took it from there.
Note that highest note he hit and held. I mean, you got to picture a guy doing that live while playing bass also, and just holding that note. Pretty incredible. The story of his departure from the Eagles, quite famously on stage in Knoxville, Tennessee, and it came time during an encore, hey, let's do Take It to the Limit. And Randy said he had come down with the flu. He wasn't feeling it, didn't think he hit the notes. And Glenn Frey is like, no, dude, we're going to do it. The crowd wants it. They're excited. And they blew up, and it turned into, well, if you're so miserable up here, why don't you quit? And Randy Meisner did, and the band said, who's that guy that replaced him in Poco? Oh, let's call him. He'll replace him in the Eagles, too.
All
Timothy
right.
B. Schmidt, the lucky recipient of the twice replacing Randy Meisner award. But it's pretty funny. But, it's funny. Everybody talks about the infighting, the dysfunction. Henley and Frey, in the awesome documentary on the Eagles that came out a few years back, I think it was Showtime,
Yes.
lengthy documentary. Henley and Frey at length, they talk about all the problems, but they never talk that it was their fighting that was driving everybody crazy. Like, you don't hear stories about, Joe Walsh and Randy Meisner were messing the gig up by fighting with each other. It's like the other guys in the Eagles weren't at each other's throats. It's always either Frey or Henley or both going at somebody else or each other. But at the same time, Glenn Frey, it's like, hey, man, the audiences love this. Do it. Like, there was still a sense of we got to put on a great show, and we're depriving them. People love this song. They love seeing you hit the notes. And to a guy like Frey or Don Henley, they couldn't imagine somebody, tapping out, saying, "I don't feel it tonight."
Yeah, definitely.
Every band's got those members. You got to have a few of those. For lack of a better word, a-holes, or nobody's getting anything done.
I think you're probably right. And from that documentary you're talking about, montage together a few things. Randy Meisner just talking about what he wanted in the band. Joe Walsh, that middle guy that saw both sides explaining it. And then Glenn Frey talking about what you just talked about.
Okay, then. So apparently it was happening more than once. The way this sounds, I guess it was a common problem. But regardless, whether it was the flu or a hangover, it spelled the end of Randy Meisner and the Eagles. But, of course, when they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he was right there, inducted along, a founding member, and a guy who, in the early years, when it was all, wine and roses and a future to behold, right there in the thick of it, and an integral part of that band, make no mistake. So, Godspeed, Randy Meisner. Well done, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what a contribution, and what a band to contribute with the Eagles. They changed the landscape in the 1970s.
They absolutely certainly did that. I mean, you're big when there are multiple, countless cultural references to how much you suck. And how much people hate you.
Yeah.
And in fact, the entire, what's the whole, one of the most endearing qualities of the dude in The Big Lebowski?
Hates the Eagles.
I hate the Eagles, man. and it's when Glenn Frey died, I remember doing sports talk, and we spent a whole show talking about Glenn Frey, and the whole point was, we had callers, we had different people. It was such a big story that day, because I don't think anybody knew he was ill or sick, and so it was such a shock. And there was just that thing that overwhelmed everybody, which is, man, I hate the Eagles, but what? I want to hear that. I want to hear that one. How's that one go? It's like, we hate them because they got played to death, and it became cool to hate. But you only hate the people who are so big you can't get away from them, and that's certainly where the Eagles have been for 50 years now.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, they were that big that you had an opinion on them. It wasn't a band that you were indifferent to. No one was. You either loved them, or there was something about them that they were too big, or you hated them, but you had a strong opinion. I think everyone does. Certainly they grew up through that period about the Eagles.
I don't know if there's a record that's going to be released this year that's going to be so big you can't get away from it. But there's been a movie released this year that's so big no one's going to get away from it for a while. And that is, of course, Barbie, which is still just breaking box office records. It's a complete social phenomena that's happening right now. I saw Barbie. I loved it. I know Candace saw Barbie. She loved it. Yeah. I know Zepp. You're gonna get there eventually.
Yeah, I'll get there, no doubt.
Tony, you'll get there eventually.
Yeah, I will.
There's something for everyone in that movie, and if not, okay, you don't have to love it. You don't have to love it, but for the people who are a little. There are a lot of dudes out there, for lack of a better word, who are like, oh, whatever, I don't care, women power, I don't want to see it. Trust me, we were very close to this truly being a movie for everyone, because writer-director Greta Gerwig, in an interview, recently said she did not get final cut privilege, which means she did not have the right to say, this is the movie, it's edited, it's done, this is what goes to theaters. The studio had final say, and the studio removed one scene from the movie that she had shot, and she thought it was going to be a big part of the film. Warner Brothers was like, no, actually, that's coming out of the movie. What was that scene, you may be asking? It was another musical number. Mm-hmm. It was a fart opera.
Opera.
Greta Gerwig wrote a scene, shot a scene, edited a scene, had done everything. It was in her cut of the film where the characters all have a fart opera.
I absolutely love it. I read this yesterday, and I would say I've only been on the fence with this movie just because, listen, I just don't see a lot of movies. I'm like, all right, am I really going to get all amped up and go see this, or wait till it comes to streaming? I eventually will watch it. But then I saw this and I went, okay, this Greta Gerwig, I love her. I haven't seen many of her movies. Steve, you've been talking about some movies I may end up finding, but just anyone that would want to put that in their movie means that it's a big. How can you criticize it seriously if it has a fart opera in it? Now, they did end up cutting the scene, but the fact that she shot it and wanted it in there, you got me, Greta.
We were able to smuggle that edited scene away from them.
Now that this story is out, I'm predicting a director's cut. There will be a director's cut with the fart opera in there.
Yeah.
At least as an extra.
She knows what she's doing.
Oh, yeah.
She's spilling that. She's leaking that little. Let's see. How else can I say it? She's letting that squeak out. She's lifting one cheek on that story. She's doing all kinds of things to make sure that, to your point, there's going to be a. I guess they don't sell DVDs anymore, but if they did, it would certainly be on there. Bonus footage.
They're Barbie farts. They don't stink.
No, gosh, no.
They smell nice and pretty.
I bet. I wonder. They do smell nice and pretty, and they. I always loved. Speaking of, there's a way to combine. I like in the old Western movies the way the gunshots would sound. You'd hear the bullets ricochet off things. Like they always had those bizarre. What is that? So maybe there's some combination. Maybe Barbie farts have those ricocheting added things to them as well.
All right. Well, it sounds like a little something for everybody in the Barbie movie. Let's get along. Why don't you round us up some sports and music history, if you would, please, Steve, while I get not feeling well. God dang it. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zepp, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Hey, great news, guys. Did you see? There's a leprosy outbreak in Florida.
Oh, finally.
Great.
Yeah. That's good. It's like an old friend coming back to visit.
Wow.
The
leprosy, an infectious disease, most known for its biblical associations, safe to say, but is becoming more common in Florida. It's a bizarre thing. Scientists call it Hansen's disease. I don't know who Hansen was, but thanks, dude. It damages the skin and peripheral nervous system. The good news, if there is any, is leprosy, unlike the old days, is treatable now. It's a big dose of several antibiotics taken over a period of 1 to 2 years to fully eradicate.
Damn.
So if you find yourself with leprosy, there are cures to it. But the fact that it's coming back and spreading around Central Florida, and when I say it's back, there's a dozen or so cases lately, but that's way more than there had been, for years and years. But Central Florida seems to have just some bizarre. There's something going on down there where people are more likely to get it. A 54-year-old just diagnosed. He had not left the state. Nor had he been exposed to armadillos, which apparently has got something to do with this.
What?
He had not had any contact with people from countries where leprosy is more common, basically saying the checklist, he didn't hit any of the boxes. So the investigators are a little more concerned than normal. Like, wait, this stuff's just kind of hopping around right now. But anyway, all that to say, I don't know what the point is. It's just like I didn't expect to open my computer up during a commercial break and see that leprosy was making a comeback.
No, it's what are the symptoms I'm looking out for there? Nose falls off. What? You don't want to screw around with that.
You wake up and there's no nose, and then you want to Google no nose, and then you'll see leprosy, and you're good to go.
How the hell would you get it from an armadillo? This isn't a game animal or is it? I don't know. Maybe armadillo soup. Down south?
I don't really know. I'm not a doctor, Brian. I just play one on the radio. I don't know how these things work.
Well, that's good. Get a handle on that one if you could. Stay away from the armadillos.
Tell you what, I'm gonna do some research over the weekend. By which, what I mean by that is, I'm gonna forget we even talked about this over the weekend. So I'll have no new info for you by Monday.
Let me know when the Black Plague hits the Midwest.
Here's a fun fact. Here's a quick question. There's only one state capital in the United States. 50 states, 50 state capitals. There's only one state capital that the word, the name of the town doesn't share a single letter with its own state. See what I'm saying there?
Yeah.
Anybody got any guesses?
No, man. I haven't. The capital. I'm going through them.
The capital has no shared letters with the name of the state it's the capital of.
Pierre.
Damn it. Pierre, South Dakota. Good job.
Wow.
That's what's the first state capital I thought of, being a homeboy.
That's
out
you.
there.
That's
and,
you.
Then
I said Pierre. Is it Pierre? How do you pronounce it?
Pierre will get you punched in the mouth in Pierre, South Dakota.
How do you say it?
It's too
Pierre,
fancy.
It's too fancy. Pierre. We just came up with Pierre. Yeah.
Pierre.
Wow.
Yeah, Pierre. I'm sure it was Pierre. It was, probably named after some Pierre dude.
Sure.
Probably on the Lewis and Clark Trail. Everything in that damn state's named after somebody from that expedition. But, by the time South Dakotans and the rest of the Europeans rolled into South Dakota, it was just Pierre.
Yeah. There's a town in Kentucky called Versailles. You may be familiar with the original Versailles.
Yeah.
It's Versailles, Kentucky. And
Do
there's
they
a
pronounce
street
it like that?
There's a street in Hopkinsville, Kentucky called Lafayette, as opposed to Lafayette.
Well, that's what we do here. Us Americans, when I was out in Montana, I'd run into that all the time. But the one I think that drove me the craziest was Kevin. 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 How else would you pronounce it? You know how they pronounce it? Oh, no, that's how you have to scream it. You can't just say it. No, they pronounce it Kevin. I'm like, all right, knock it off. Now you're messing with me.
Who does this?
Montana. There's a town.
Come on.
Kevin. So I said Kevin. Oh, no, that's Kevin. In what language, on what planet? Yeah, right. Just because you people are illiterate doesn't mean that, I have to feel like an idiot because I said Kevin because it's spelled Kevin. Kevin. Stop it.
That's not cool.
That's not cool.
That's not cool at all. It's one thing. I understand misspelling words, but mispronouncing words that everyone knows only have one way. Come on, man. Although it should be noted, a town in Massachusetts, outside their middle school, they just had the road repainted over the summer. The school slow zone, the big letters you see on the road.
Right.
This is literally outside of a middle school, and it says in big letters, slow school. And school is spelled SHCOOL. Painted into the road. The guy misspelled the word school.
You don't step back and look at your work. You don't. That does. And now I see the picture. How does that look right?
And then because of the weather, it's been raining a lot. They can't get back there and fix it. They can't overpaint it. So, yeah, that's pretty strong.
Yeah, that is.
It's the thought that counts, I suppose.
All right. Just focus on the slow part, all right?
Yeah, that's exactly
slow down.
Hey, we mentioned that Barbie sadly had to cut out a fart scene that Greta Gerwig had put in there. They shot it, a full-on fart opera. Barbie is the biggest movie of the year. The Mattel, I imagine Mattel stock would be a good thing to be sitting on right now.
All right.
They're just getting started. Polly Pocket, written and directed by Lena Dunham.
Ooh, I'm down.
Starring Lily Collins, already in the works. It's coming next. There's going to be a Hot Wheels movie.
Well, that makes sense.
That does make sense.
I could see that.
And I was when I heard about all these other movies being made, my first thought was, well, there's only one Greta Gerwig, and everyone else will just try to rip her off. It'll be silly. But I mean, if you get some really creative people involved, I am excited for the next one for real. Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Okay, wait a minute.
Come on,
I
how
like
cool were those?
Yeah, that's cool.
Very cool, except, there was always one that was like on a hair trigger. You just tap it and the head goes off. So it was, and for us, it was the blue one. So you knew if you got the red one, you were the winner, right?
Yeah.
So that sucked a little bit.
Well, that could be a thing. That could be a part of the movie. That could be part of the hero's journey. He's got to get a stronger chin.
Right, exactly. How does the weak robot actually overcome and adapt? You can't just brute your way through life sometimes. You've got to learn.
Oh, my God.
The blue robot had to learn to care.
You guys are so mean. You just brush through Polly Pocket. You don't even let me speak about it.
I've never even
Hot
heard
Wheels,
of Polly Pocket.
What is a Polly?
Oh, my gosh. Polly
Candace.
Pocket was iconic.
Okay.
Candace, I'm being dead serious. I've never heard of Polly Pocket. What is it? It makes me hungry. I think of a Hot Pocket.
I was thinking of Pocket Pool because I'm a weirdo. It's the weekend.
It's like Barbie, but tiny. So it's just a tiny little doll, and she has all these cool worlds. There was like a swimming world, like a cool... I can't explain it, so I don't even know what I'm trying to talk about right now. Never mind.
Hold on. You're like, you guys are just you're glossing over Polly Pocket. So then we give you your spotlight, and you literally go, I don't even know. I can't explain
Sounds like
It's
a
just
cult, Candace.
Yeah, quite a pitch there.
It's just mini Barbie.
Right. Tiny Barbies.
You can take her with you wherever you go.
Hence the pocket.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
So if they just shoot the Barbie movie over with little people, perhaps.
Yeah, sure.
Put the fart scene in that one.
We represent the
Polly Pocket.
There's a movie for Uno.
What?
Ooh.
Come
Oh,
on.
God.
What?
The worst card game ever.
I will say this: if there were home movies of Gorman Uno battles from the 70s, you'd see some bloodshed. Those would be funny. We would fight more at the Uno table than ever on the basketball court. The competitive nature of the Uno back in the day. Thomas and Friends. Is that Thomas the Tank Engine?
Must be.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, come on.
Oh, yeah, Ringo. Wasn't that his thing? No, I'm screwing that up.
Yeah,
Was that
Ringo
his thing?
and George Carlin both did Thomas series.
Right.
Ringo was the first one. They offered, the original Thomas the Tank Engine was offered to John Lennon. And he turned it down. And then after his death, when a bunch of his letters and personal documents were shared with the public, he had written a letter to a friend. And in it, he wrote, some BBC punts got in touch and asked me if I wanted to narrate something about a children's show about trains that talk. And he wrote, can you imagine a beetle doing such a thing? And then, of course, Ringo was like, I can imagine, and I will. And he was great at it, too.
Yeah, he was. I would have enjoyed that if they would have let John Lennon write the narration.
Oh, my God, that'd be
would
great.
have instantly been a adult cult classic.
That would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
Sir Topham had as a fat capitalist pig.
Oh, I don't. Major Matt Mason.
Major Matt Mason.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I loved that.
Yeah, I remember that old astronaut toy.
Yeah.
So Tom Hanks is starring in that one, Tony.
Oh, hell yeah.
I
could see that.
I missed that one. An astronaut named Matt Mason?
Major Matt Mason. He was a
Major
very
Matt Mason.
bendable, posable astronaut.
What? Sounds like Stretch Armstrong almost.
Well, it was that, when those were coming around.
Yeah. No, I missed out on the whole thing. All right, well, hey, it's like it's all coming back around. If you missed out on Hot Wheels or Major Matt Mason, just wait a little bit and go to your local Cineplex because we've run out of new ideas about the human experience.
Yeah, the Marvel movies are tanking. Star Wars movie franchise is tanking.
Good.
So now it's
Enough
the Mattel.
already.
The Mattel series, here it comes.
All right, and then we'll blow through those, and then the Hot Wheels will be big, and then they'll do a Matchbox crappy knockoff version. Mm-hmm. I never liked Matchbox cars. I was Hot Wheels all the way.
Polly Pocket.
Did you say Hot Pocket again?
No.
Oh, Polly
now
Pocket.
I'm hungry
My bad.
too.
If you take a Hot Wheels and Polly Pockets, you have yourself a
car
heart
fire.
Attack. Yeah, car fire.
That's exactly what you'd have.
God. Today and every weekday at noon, it's Free Ride, Minnesota's commercial-free classic rock on 92 KQRS.